They left the sword in the stone, for it would not budge even when Wish pulled it. Fate didn't seem to think either of them were ready to wield that sword. I don't understand, said Tsar, bewildered. We need that sword more than ever now that witches have returned to the forest. But the sword is a bit wayward, isn't it, said Caliban. We don't really understand its secrets yet, so maybe this is the right place for it at the moment. Caliban might be right, for goodness knows where you could safely conceal and imprison an enchanted sword that seemed to have a mind of its own and wanted to kill witches and could pick locks and slice through floors and ceilings, and even Queen Sycorax, who was a prison expert, couldn't work out a solution of how to contain it. Well, the stone was probably as safe a place for it as any at the moment. They left a note for Sycorax by the sword in the stone. Wish wrote it, so the spelling was a little erratic. Dear Queen Sycorax, I have returned your sword. Do not touch the blade. If you're able to take it out, it may be stained with witch blood. Sorry. Best wishes, Tsar, son of Nkanzo, Grand Wizard of forever. It wasn't hard to find the once magic people that Sycorax had imprisoned. You just had to follow the noise, and as soon as they had entered the dungeons, the singing ceased, and the once magic stared at them, unable to believe they were there. The giant crusher raised his shaggy head. Tsar, he roared, you've come to save me. I knew you would. Of course I have, said Tsar, conveniently forgetting that if Wish hadn't pointed it out, he wouldn't have even noticed Crusher was missing. Because I am a leader, and that is what a leader does. One look at that giant's kindly, innocent face, crinkling up in delight as Tsar hugged his ankle, made everything worthwhile for Wish. This imprisonment of the once magic people was wrong. She could tell it was wrong. Her mother was mistaken. Not wicked like Tsar said she was, of course not, but mistaken nonetheless. Let's get out of here, roared Tsar, punching the air. But to Tsar's surprise, the once magic people were not so keen to escape as he expected. They stood there, even the loudest of the hobs, rather silent and depressed, as if the air had leaked from a balloon, and the poor sprites who had lost their ability to fly were so mortified they ran away, scuttling like mice across the prison floor. They're ashamed, Tsar explained to Caliban, for what is a giant without his size? What is a sprite without her wings? They were like warriors returning from battle, terribly wounded, these poor people, and they no longer knew how they would fit into the world of the magic. But Tsar coaxed them out. He jumped up on a rock in the centre of the dungeon. Don't be embarrassed, everybody, cried Tsar. I am Tsar, boy of destiny. And at present, it seems, due to some weird divine oversight that I don't understand, even I have no magic. Yet I have come to rescue you. And I will take you back to my father Nkanzo, the greatest enchanter who has ever lived, and I'm sure he will be able to restore your magic. I don't think you should be promising them that, Tsar, said Caliban. I'm not sure that's possible. But the promise offered hope to these people. The thought of magic being returned to them brought a shine to even the dullest and most crestfallen boggart or will-o'-the-wisp's eye. Crusher the giant scooped up the little sprites who could no longer fly and kindly offered them a lift in his pockets, so they perched like little nits in his hair, and the gradually growing larger party galloped and sprang and ran through the corridors back to the chamber of magic removal, because that was where they could pick up the path to the secret exit. At the chamber of magic removal, the little party stopped. This is where we part, said Bodkin. Come with us, Wish, said Tsar. Come up back to our camp. You can be magic there. Tsar and Wish had met in the crossing of paths and stars in the forest only 24 hours earlier. Here, deep in the underground prison, was another crossing of the ways, and Wish had to decide which way to go. One way, the straight dust trail of light led back through the dungeon maze and up to Sycorax's hill fort. The other way, a tall, dark corridor, led towards the secret exit and out into the forest, and that was where Tsar and the magic creatures were going. It was extremely tempting to take that path, for it seemed like the path of excitement and wildness and magic and snowcats. But I can't leave home, said Wish. I'm only 13. This is my home, and my mother isn't as bad as you think she is. Your mother is a very dangerous person, said Tsar. Even though Bodkin wanted Wish to come back up to the fort with him, in all honesty, he had to agree with Tsar. Remember those heads in that chamber, those spelling books piled high in the cells? Sycorax is trying to be a sorceress, Wish. Murmuring mistletoe, do you think that's true, gasped Wish? But how can she when she's the one who always goes on about how bad magic is and how we should fight against it? Yes, Sycorax had plenty of secrets, and Wish had learned rather more about her mother than she wanted to know. But she's trying to do the right thing. I know she is, and my mother deserves a second chance, said Wish stubbornly. We all deserve a second chance, don't we? Wish is right, she should stay here, said Caliban, thinking not so much of giving Sycorax a second chance, but of the many evil people, wizards and worse, who might like to get their hands on magic that works in iron. His magic is so powerful it will be better off for the moment in the protection of the warrior fort. In fact, I come to think of it, the warriors have to keep Tsar's spelling book just in case. Oh, that's so kind of you, Caliban, said Wish, but I won't be needing it. She gave a little shiver. I'm not going to be doing any more magic for the moment. Not till I can persuade everyone in the warrior tribe that magic isn't as bad as they think it is. No, whispered Matt Boken urgently, even though he was absolutely longing to look again at the pictures, at the stories, the recipes, the spells, the whole wonderful world of magic in that book. No, we shouldn't have magic things anymore. Look at all the trouble that beastly spoon and the enchanted sword has got us into. Wish is a warrior princess and she needs to give up all this magic stuff. Caliban gave him an affectionate look. Ah, magic can be concealed, magic can be hidden, but giving magic up, that is very hard indeed.